Alright, got quite a few charts to go through here, so I'm going to try and get through them pretty quick. First up is DVN, Devon Energy. This ended up being a loss. Took a gap and go type setup here. Failed, broke down below the opening range. Once it triggered me out, I didn't even bother with it anymore throughout the day. Next up is Rost Stores. Rost Stores is another one that took a gap and go type of entry, and this is a 2-minute chart here. Once I was in, stop loss went below the opening range and took me out pretty much within a matter of minutes. Not the best trade there, but sometimes they work, sometimes they don't, you know. That's why you got stop losses. Those are my 2 losses for the day. Next up, I have some trades that did not actually trigger. CHS gapped up, no follow through, and sold off all day. Once it broke below the range, this one doesn't really move too much anyway, so I didn't even watch it anymore after that. Next up, INFY, another one that doesn't move too much. I'm not sure why I wasted my time even analyzing it, but I did, so it was on the watch list. But you can see my note here. In the morning I put this on here and decided, you know, it's not worth looking at, so didn't even mess with it. SLV is a silver ETF. No trigger off of the hammer, however, left a pretty nice looking setup here that I'm going to keep on my watch for another day or two. See what happens. This green candle over here looks like a nice little failed breakdown. I will watch it for some continued follow through to the upside. Looks like it's wanting to hold above this 50-day simple moving average, and we might get a golden cross here coming up sometime soon. SRC would be coming up next. This did not trigger either. Opened up within my range, broke down below it, and from that point on wasn't even worth watching. Those were, I believe, 5 trades that did not trigger. First up that did actually win for me, Abercrombie & Fitch, ANF. My initial entry here, I didn't take the opening range breakout. It's a cheap stock, so kind of had that in the back of my mind. Wasn't really interested in a gap and go. Waited for a pullback here. Saw a little bit of an opportunity, got in, and got out for 3 cents. Not a great trade, but profit is profit. GPS is the next. Did take a gap and go type of setup here. And as you can see, he trailed me out once it couldn't hold over the highs of the opening range. And this was a good idea to get out because, as you can see, it broke down and kind of dwindled down the rest of the day. Intel's been treating me pretty well lately. Basically 2 candles in a row, and now we possibly have a third one. I'll keep this on watch again for a later date, probably tomorrow, into earnings, which is a couple of days actually. Very bullish on Intel. I've got this green line here based on a monthly chart, looking for possible test of these previous highs up here. So we'll see what happens after earnings. The opening range didn't tell me anything. I want to see how it reacted at this line. First of all, it obviously failed, came down, and once it found support and told me there was somewhere to get in, went ahead, took a chance, got in, had a real tight stop, and rode it out the rest of the day. Ended up being a pretty good trade there. Las Vegas Sands has been doing pretty well lately for me. This one ended up triggering me in twice. First one for a small loss. It was a gap and go type setup, and the stop loss was actually just below the 2-minute candle. This is the 5-minute chart here, so you can't see exactly where I got out. But this first trade did not work. The second one, once it created a base, broke above, got in, and took it to almost the end of the day. Ended up working out pretty well. Next up, Pten. Almost didn't trade this one at all. I don't know what this company is or what they do, and I don't know anything about it, but based on that, I mean, it was the way it opened, I wasn't interested in it at all. Normally I'll go ahead and jump in right here, but I was very hesitant today for some reason. It came down, set in a base just below my range right here, and I said if it starts to look like it's going to break back into it, let me go ahead and take a position, see what happens, and as you can see I did, and it worked out to be a profitable trade. And that would be all of them. There were 5 winners and 2 losers today.